Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 19. And yesterday I failed to mention that it was we were just over the quarter point of this challenge. So we're over 25% through, if you can believe it. And hopefully by now you have got a good grasp on the three major portions of this challenge, which are going to, well, I guess we could really say four, because there's that accountability portion, which you're supposed to send me your feedback, by the way. Hopefully we've got a handle on all these. Your cardio, your weight training workouts, your diet, which is really important, and of course that accountability. That stimulus to get you to do those three other things, to stay on top of those three other things. Yesterday I talked about cardio for fat loss. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more here because maybe I use some big words, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to try to put this more in layman's terms, but I mentioned, for example, the amount of energy per unit of time. And obviously, if you're demanding more energy, like if I'm going to sprint versus walk, that's going to demand more energy. I think we can all agree on that. And I have to put out a lot more energy to get myself moving that much quicker. So what does that mean? It just means that per unit of time, I have to output more energy. And of course, this is going to contribute. If I do higher intensity, this is going to contribute to more calories being used, which is going to contribute to more of a calorie burn at the end of the day. Maybe. It just depends on how we want to compare it to, say, low intensity. So I could do high intensity for maybe 15 minutes and burn 150 calories, or I could go for an hour-long fast-paced walk and maybe burn 250 calories. But at the end of the day, as I mentioned yesterday, all that matters is the total energy output. Sort of. There are some nuances to this. And I mentioned about this yesterday about the excessive post-oxygen consumption that we get after high-intensity exercise. That basically that extra energy burn that seems to occur after the exercise as part of the recovery process. Certainly that does play a role, and certainly there is a bit of that happening when we do high intensity training, especially with weight training, because we are going through major tissue recovery, especially if we're working out really hard. And so this all makes a difference in the amount of total energy that we burn for the day, or for maybe a couple days in the case of weight training. But everything counts. So don't think that, for example, going for a 10-minute walk is useless or is not going to count for anything. Or parking at the end of a parking lot is not going to make any difference. This all makes a difference. Every little bit, even me doing these videos and me moving around, and I can feel my body temperature go up when I do these videos. All of that is contributing to more energy output. So all of these things, cleaning your kitchen, whatever, everything matters. So don't just think about this in terms of when I do X exercise, I'm burning fat, and when I'm doing, when I'm not doing exercise, I'm not burning fat. It's not the case. Okay, we want to look at total energy input versus total energy output. Okay, so I want you to keep this in mind. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say on that. And so let's get to more of your feedback here. This person writes, this is under name something specific you can improve upon. Planning better balanced meals, specifically managing healthy fats. Okay, planning better balanced meals. This is great, and I don't want to take anything away from this person for writing this, but we need to be more accountable. So for example, you might say, I'm going to try to make sure that I get very close to, or I'm going to try to get whatever, 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of carbs, and let's use something that's more realistic to perhaps your breakdown or percentages of numbers. I'm going to try to get 30 grams of protein, 40 grams of carbs, and 15 grams of fat every meal, something like that. Okay, that way you have something to shoot for. In this case here, you don't really have something to shoot for. Okay, you have an idea, but the idea is not concrete enough. Managing healthy fats. Okay, we need to talk about this. What do we consider healthy fats? This is a huge topic. I will admit that I am a bit, well, I don't want to say biased on this, but I don't see any real evidence of bad fats and healthy fats, with the exception of maybe trans fats. So the idea that saturated fat is bad for you is simply not true. In fact, saturated fat is actually the most stable fat. But I think I'm going to save that for a future video. Okay, let's get to one more question here. Okay, nothing there. We'll go one more. This person writes, focusing on recovery more this week, stretching more, using massage gun, etc. Again, these are all things that can maybe help you to feel better. They're not going to help your recovery per se. They may help you to feel not as tight, but in terms of the actual recovery to your nervous system, the recovery to your soft tissues, your ligaments, your tendons, your muscles, you're not really going to get really much from this. Although, like I said, you might feel better. Blood flow stimulation can help with recovery, of course, because blood is going to bring nutrients, and those nutrients are going to help with the recovery of those tissues. Okay, let's get to the message of the day. On this day 19, progression, not perfection. Progression, not perfection. Focus on progressing more and more every week. Look for those holes or those areas where you know you can clean up, where you know you can improve upon on a weekly basis, so that we can continue to progress and not be so concerned with errors that we make or the little nuances. Let's focus on the big picture and taking those steps ahead in order to continue to, like I said, progress. Right, so work on progression every week. Try to set yourself up with some distinct targets, some things that you can be accountable to. In your feedback to me, perhaps, okay, that will encourage you, or that will guide you towards something that you can improve upon. Okay? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you very soon. See you guys.